talking of strikers, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, Flex. Rasmus Højlund has already reached an agreement in principle to sign for Manchester United. But again, this has proven a very expensive deal to get over the line. He's got a contract at Atalanta till 2028. He's still 20. He's been, scoring goals.
10.
But some of the money being quoted for him, I mean, I think United quite rightly are saying no chance. It's a bit too expensive.
Yeah, not a bit, a lot, a lot. Like the thing is that you don't want to write off a kid before they've come. This isn't an indictment on the kid. Like,
he's 20.
This is a kid. I've said for a lot of times that where's Man United's scouting network? Like, why can't we unearth the next one? Like, we shouldn't always have to be, in for the £100 million players. Obviously, Kane's a little bit of an anomaly because players like that don't become available. That's a bit different. But I've always said, why don't we go for the young up-and-coming strikers? So I'm not against this type of signing, but where I was at with it, and a lot of Man United fans were, is that you'd go and get a Kane / an Osimhen, and this kid will be the understudy. This kid will be coming up. He's going to give us depth. You move away from Martial and Weghorst, and that hasn't worked. Let's get an understudy to a main striker. What it looks like now is that this kid now is going to be our main striker. Relatively unproven, obviously, because he's young. He's got a lot to learn. And to make him come to Manchester United and be the main striker instead of the one that's going to learn is tough. Now, look, things can go different ways. Oh my God, wow, what a season he had. I couldn't believe that. Didn't see that coming. Things can happen in football. But for the money that's been quoted for him, it's insane. Like, for me personally, and I know we don't get to tell other teams how much price they should put, but he's not in that bracket where he's so indispensable because he scored 25 goals for Atalanta, and what would they do? He scored about 10 goals. He's still young, even in that league. He should be a £30 million signing.
It's
35
literally,
million signing.
I feel like it's Premier League tax, it's Man United tax, it's them seeing an opportunity to
desperation because they know we ain't got one
100%,
striker,
And nowadays, I think we see it so often with the big teams where they're willing to overpay for potential. We saw that with Enzo in January, where it's like, okay, he's only played 13 games with Benfica, but we've seen enough. Mudryk, prime example. So nowadays, clubs are doing this, and in all honesty, as much as I thought if Kane does go, he would actually be a solid replacement in the sense of maybe at a club like Spurs, he's got a year or two to kind of grow and build into that kind of role. At United, I think for that type of fee,
20-year-old running
that type of fee to come in,
Well,
the expectation that would be on him.
Yeah.
I think we'll end up getting him. I think personally for like between 50 and 60 million.
And does he start?
And this is another thing. He will be the main striker, but here's another thing. Man United fans might not want to hear this. This is my opinion. I think when because Martial's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to work, by the way. I just think what's going to happen. If Martial's just fit for however long he can be fit for, which is not long, he'll start a lot of games. Yeah. And this kid will be coming off the bench, and there'll be games where the kid starts and then Martial comes on for 25 minutes. Martial didn't even play 190 minutes last year. So, that's a bad situation to be in, considering we went into this window, Mason Mount's nice, Onana's going to be good, cool. But we went into this window saying the top priority is a number 9. You can't have Weghorst, you can't have Martial. You can have Rashford for some games, but he's best off the left. That's his best position. We need a number 9. And it looks like it's going to be Højlund. And I think when you sign a player like that, then you start breaking down, well, how can he fit into the system? But because that hasn't happened yet, I'm still in my bag of this. It wasn't supposed to be this way around. Do you know what I mean? And because we're on a tight budget as it is, with the takeover and struggling with whatever finances is going on at the club, I just think it's too much to pay for him.
To ask you, let's speak about Onana. But before we go on to Andre Onana, was you happy with the way in which, David De Gea has been an excellent servant for your club? Has just been, it doesn't look right in the way he's left.
No, not at all.
It doesn't look right. Even players like Bruno Fernandes saying he should have got a proper send off and
should have. No, I wasn't happy.
It's a bit messy, that isn't it?
I said through the whole process when we could see he was going to leave and how messy it was. I wasn't happy about it. I kind of say, we've been saying that it's a bit like, in like your GCSE maths when like you get a point for working out and then you get a point for getting the right answer.
Yeah.
It's like boy, you got to the right answer, Man United, but the working out, we're going to dock your point for that one, because it shouldn't have been like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't have been. And for me, like, I've done a thank you video, like, just outlined. He's been there for 12 years, and at one point, he was the best keeper in the Prem. He won, you know, the Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year award like 4 times in a row. The Players Player like 3 times in it. Like, let's not act like in a period De Gea wasn't massively important for Man United. And yes, there's been a demise and the team needs to go in a different way.
Best goalkeeper in the league at one time.
Exactly.
Easy,
he was. And I just think that 12 years counts for something.
Yeah.
I think people are, I said that, confusing like ruthlessness for like lack of respect. Like, you can still be ruthless. Like, we've made the right decision to go on and get another keeper. That's fine. So you're being ruthless. But the handling of the situation definitely could have been better. Do you know, David De Gea, and people could laugh because certain Man United fans who see him kicking it out of play now because he's kind of not in that mould of new keeper might laugh. He's in the top 5 goalkeepers of Manchester United's ever history ever. And really, he's in the top, as I'm going to say, he's in actually the top 3 in terms of what he's achieved and the longevity. He's done it, and he's got more appearances, more clean sheets than like Van der Sar, Schmeichel, Alex Stepney. Like, these are big goalkeepers in the history of Man United. That counts for something. That counts for when that guy leaves, whenever it is. Show some respect, give him his testimonial, let him play against an Atletico Madrid 11.
Yeah.
And
I think
say
recency bias will always play a factor, though, and I think,
Yeah.
like, especially when you look at how he's been maybe the last 2 or 3 years, I think it's really highlighted the need to change him. I think even this year, 6 months ago, they were talking about, he's signing a new deal on a lesser terms, which tells
And he accepted it.
And he accepted it. But the thing is, if you're taking a lesser deal, that clearly tells you the club don't rate you as highly as they once did, which gives you an indication of his decline. And I think that's where a lot of United fans' disrespect, if you like, is coming from. He's been there 12 years, but he's been just as bad, same amount of period of time as he has been good, I feel like, in a sense, because maybe you could say the first 2 years, he kind of struggled to adapt a little bit. Then the last 4 years, he's kind of been rough. So 6 good years, 6 bad years. And that's where I think people are kind of looking at it like, our legends are the Giggsies, the Scholes, the greats. We can't put David De Gea amongst their type of thing. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
For that level of service, for them years when you lot were actually in the mud, there were times when he was clearing the mud, the only one keeping you lot from being 3-0 down to 7-0. So
he won Player of the
Year
Year
just
just even last year, which was
respect,
not last year, the year before that, because we were awful again. And had
Golden
our
Glove
worst
as well this year.
He's got the Golden Glove this year. That's a team thing with the back 4 as well, because we've improved. But I just think in our worst moments, that's an indictment of the club, that your keeper is your best player 4 years in a row or whatever it was. Like, that shows you how bad Man United is. You can't pick an attacker, you can't pick a defender, you can't pick a winger, you can't pick a midfielder that could be the best player of the year. It's the goalkeeper at Man United. You know, how many shots must you be facing? Real Madrid don't announce flipping a goalkeeper as the player of the year. Like, do you know what I mean? So
Onana,
it's bad.
Andre Onana, he's the guy that's looks like he's coming in. Inter Milan, of course, playing a hard bargain for this. They're wanting over £50 million now, and why wouldn't they? They know you need
as well.
They know you need a keeper, don't they? They know you need a keeper. They know you ain't got nobody else,
Exactly.
so they'll just drive it as hard as they can. But you expect Onana to be
there'll be a middle ground. It's like the Mason Mount thing. They started, what is it? They wanted 65. We put 45. Then we ended up at 50 plus 5. Like, it's the same kind of thing. They're happy because they got this guy on a free a year ago, and now they get to cash in, which is insane, isn't it?
million,
you know what I'm
mate.
saying? 50 million profit.
Fair play to these Serie A clubs, though, because
They always find a way.
They're working on such tight budgets, I feel like, that they have to go above and beyond for their scout. Guys like Højlund, they probably signed him for pennies, and then now they're going to flip him for 70 million.
I saw something the other day about how much money Ajax have made.
Must be so much.
Come on.
They've made about
Conveyor belt
500
with their
million.
Talent, yeah.
But
It's
they
crazy.
understand that clubs like that.
They understand what they are,
They
right?
understand where they fit in like, the European. But for them to be sustainable and keep competing, they actually have to do
So,
that.
yeah.
Benfica's,
It's incredible,
the Dortmunds,
yeah.